I'll just point out some examples of how it, or how we know it doesn't actually work the way it's supposed to. For example, this is a cutaway view of the Grand Canyon, and creationists and evolutionists have differing ideas about how exactly this formed and how long the whole thing took, but both sides agree on one thing, that the layers down here were laid down before the stuff on top. So both sides agree that at first there was these layers down here, and then some kind of tectonic activity tilted them over on the side. Then there was a large erosional event which cut everything across. Then these layers of sedimentary material were laid down. Then the canyon was cut by some kind of erosional process. And then the very last thing that happened was this volcanic material here came out of these vents and came down the wall of the canyon. So again, both sides disagree on how long all this took, but both sides agree on the relative order of how it happened. Now, some scientists I know took samples from the Cardenas basalt down here, and also some layers from this basalt here, and submitted them for radiometric dating, without really telling the labs where the samples came from. And this is what they got back. 10,000 years, all the way up to 2.6 billion years. Now that's the same rock, dated by different methods, produces a range of answers that large. Now, first of all, how useful is any kind of scientific method that produces a range of numbers that large? Well, not very. Again, a 300 million year spread, that's not very helpful. But notice this one's maximum age of 2.6 billion is over 1.5 billion years more than this one down here is supposed to be. Well, we know this one's older. You can tell by looking at it. But my point is the radiometric methods, the dating numbers coming back, are not supporting what we know has to be true. Another example of this, I know a geologist who went into the crater of Mount St. Helens. There's several eruptions since the early 80s. This lava dome formed after that. They took samples and sent it off to a lab to get potassium-argon dating. Now, potassium and argon is specifically supposed to tell you when lava turned from being molten material and lithified into stone. That's the whole purpose of this radiometric dating method. Well, the lab sent back results of 340,000 to 2.8 million years age for this sample. So they were telling him your sample turned to stone from 340,000 years ago to 2.8 million years ago. The problem is the lava dome was formed in 1986. That's when this material hardened into stone. Now, by the way, this geologist is a Bible-believing Christian and knew the radiometric methods would produce wrong results, which is kind of why he did this. He's trying to show his colleagues, guys, these methods that you're relying on produce false results. And if you have a method that produces false results when you test it and you already know the answer, why are you going to believe the numbers it produces when you don't know the answer? That's not good science.